Hi there. Time for another release update. 18. It's been a whole month since our last release. Um, Again, we're in the season time, so these are patches and fixes that have been needed for some people to go live and such. There's very little in the way of new features here, but we'll go through them. I don't know exactly what some of these things do, but hopefully we can cover them off. So um, we have some help here, some ch changes for the twinkly effects. So when the protocol switches between twinkly, so that's going to be something to do with changing protocol over here to twinkly, I'm guessing, something like that. Or or in the layout, I'm not positive. Fixed color order inheritance, so that would have been probably a must needed fix for those people that have the iLight that controller. Pierre did a fix on the single strand effect, um, head and tail for blending types. He had a specific case that was not working properly um, on the single strand effect. So that was a new feature that was added a couple of versions ago. And I'll just quickly throw that on there. Single strand effect. Well, let's stick it on there. It won't make much sense. Let's go down, move it down here. I'm just arrow down, find something. It probably looks better on Arch. That's it. The clicking Arch and the effect settings over here. So if you weren't aware, there were some new things added for chase type and fade type. So head to tail. And if we look back here, it says head and tail for blending types. So that would be something was changed or corrected when using blending types here. All right. So I think it was layered or something. So corrected an issue there. I don't think that would be too common right now because it's like I said, it's a new effect, so probably not seeing it all that often. Fixed crash with the negative numbers. This was pointed out in the past month that if you went to File, Sequence Settings, it was never coded to do negatives in like to cut off time. It's only meant to add milliseconds. So if you put in a negative number there, it would crash the system. Not to say that maybe in the future we don't allow for negative, but it currently is not coded for that. So um, that at least blocks you from putting in a negative number. There's been a lot of issues with the Mac recently, not really xLights related, but there's been more of a lockdown on the Mac OS side of things, and it's causing some problems with permissions. So Dan's trying to get those addressed as soon as possible. There's a couple key things that we've seen so far, and I'm not a Mac guy, so I could be wrong here, but there's something about allowing full disk access, and there's also another one that says allow um, local network access. So those may be two things you want to look at to see if they're enabled for xLights. Make sure that you are doing a full restart of xLights, not just closing the window with the X, but actually quitting xLights and restarting, or better yet, rebooting your Mac. We've also seen cases where you needed to log out and log back in of your Apple account to get some permission. So those are a couple of things to be aware of. Just doing some house cleaning on FPP Connect, cleaning up the temp space. Um, Again, we're just making sure things are running smoothly. So zero length effects. Sometimes when you do imports, you don't even realize it. But if you look in sequencer, it was possible to like make a zero length effect and you wouldn't even see it. It was just be a single line. So making sure that those situations don't happen. Usually it's a case of bringing in some sort of timing marks or some sort of effects from another tool that would create that, maybe a Lower or Audacity or something like that. Uh, this was a special case that somebody pointed out that, why should we go into layout and if you click on a locked um, item, why would it trigger a save button? So we've nailed that one down and says, okay, you obviously didn't change it because it's locked. So don't force a save or don't make it look like you needed a save. This is a big one, guys. So you may not even know that 17 or 18 is out because the Windows upgrade was not the check up here, it was not working. So this is a case of the hosting service that we use for the updates. It changed the way it's doing it internally, which broke xLights. So in whatever version you're using prior to .18, it will no longer find the xLights updates. So you have to go to xlights.org and hit the download button there. Um, Fix a potential crash. Dan has got some things there. So if you're in the controllers tab and you're using things like local host names or host names like this, there was potentially a crash, and make sure that that is addressed. Adding submodel support to auto mapping. So now in the, and we should do a whole separate video on auto mapping, but when you're importing a sequence now and you hit the auto map, it'll actually bring over all of your submodels as well, or you can potentially map over your showstopper spinner, all the submodels. You can maybe even provide mapping for a snowflake over to a showstopper spinner on the submodel level, and then you can save those aliases so that the auto mapping will pick it up later. But I think we'll do a separate video for that at some point. Add randomization function to metronome timing. I have not tried this yet, but let's see if we can figure it out. This was a way to make you, if you wanted like random bars to show up. So let's see if we can figure out. So as we added timing track, metronome, click OK. No, that doesn't look right. So let's try another one. Hopefully I can figure it out. If not, I will add it in the comments once I do. Add timing, metronome with tags, click OK. Oh, there we go. So you want to have a random timing and make them random. And I'm going to make it 1500 just so it's somewhat legible. There you go. 1, 2, 3. Not only is it the lengths are random, but the numbers are random. You have two choices in there. So if you wanted to do a VU meter, and let's hopefully I can just put one of these out just on the fly here. VU meter, effect settings here. We want it to be a timing event color, and we're using the random timing track. And we are going to say, well, we just have to have more colors here, right? And I think that's it. So you can press play. You're gonna get everything. You're gonna get a different color, and they're just random. So that's the idea. Is just to create something random. Obviously, this is random, but it's fixed because it's saved as part of your sequence, so it'll always be the same. But to your viewers, they'll think it's random because it's not following a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have that choice there. Something different. Maybe you have a waving arm or something. You want them to move up and down, left and right, whatever. You can do that now. Allow models to be visualized in the base or show folder. I'm not a base show folder user, but if you are, you would have base and show folder up here, and then you can hit the visualize so you can see both options. Add a sequence number to the progress indicator. So that's when you're doing a tools FPP Connect. You got the new button here. And I don't care to save my current one because I'm not uploading it. That warning is added there, by the way, so that you don't go and try to upload the sequence you're currently working on without saving it. So you have to make sure that, you know, if you're going to upload that one, you want to save it. So I think I can, you know, I'll try a couple. I'm just going to pick 5 here. I don't want to do too much. Just do it to my backup one. I believe if I click upload, hopefully it's not too fast. It should show how many you've done. Oh, you can quickly see it says 3 of 5, 4 of 5. So if you have a large number of sequences, you get an idea of how many are being how many have been done, or and you know how far you progressed. Import layer names from original sequences. Layer names are a little obscure, but they are these guys here. So if I say add a layer, insert layer below, and I think I can go right here. I think I can edit the layer name. So maybe this is the faces layer. All right, so you can label things, say this is my faces layer. According to this, the layer names were not being imported. So when you dragged and dropped in and brought in the everything group, it would have dropped the faces name. So you now have that added. Thank you, Scott. Optionally display. Keith found a case where people were having issues when moving models around, I think when you click on this, if you hit the left arrow key a few times, it would all of a sudden go really fast. I guess that's they found a case where that wasn't desired, so that must be sitting on the preferences. So take a look at that. Add a last render date to the batch render dialog. So tools, batch render. In the past, all you had was the modified date of the XSQ, which really doesn't tell you when the last time it was rendered. So now we've got the last time it was rendered, so you can quickly see which ones have been rendered already, and you can, maybe you don't want to render them again. You're just going to go to the ones that you haven't rendered or haven't rendered recently. So that's been added there. Add ability to invert channels in the DMX mapping. I think if I can sequencer, go here, moving heads. I'm guessing it has something to do with putting a DMX effect on a moving head. You have all the inverts right there. So what else? Ability to invert channels in the DMX. Um, I'm assuming it's this, but I believe that's already been there before. So I'm gonna have to leave a comment on what that really means, because I think that was already there before. This was a new feature added on the Genius controller with their 1.4.2, if I'm correct in remembering their version of the controller. It adds the group count ability. That's something commonly used for the really big lights where you want to have 4 lights or 9 lights or 12 lights, 12 pixels operating as one. So that, if you send a bars effect, instead of getting red, green, blue, red, green, blue, red, green, blue, you're just going to get red because it's the first channel and all the pixels will act as one. You don't have to code them any special way. It can be done even without having a group count on the controller, but it's just an easier way to implement it. So that feature has been added both on the controller, and then Scott's added it so that you can upload it to the Genius controllers. Add a line to closest timing mark for effects. I am thinking that this must be here, and there would be the alignment and align to closest timing mark. I don't have a timing mark, so let's add one and see what it does. Right click, alignment, align to closest timing mark. Alignment. Oh, there you go. Makes it bigger. Maybe it has to be close or something before you can do it. That's what sometimes people are doing is they may drop an effect in there and it just comes up a little short, right? And this way you can just stretch it out so it fits in between the timing marks so you don't have any gaps. Remove some optimizations. This was just purely behind the scenes in the code base, removing the custom code that was used to implement a function and just using the native code. This was provided by somebody using the new laptops, and it's I'm blanking on the new Snapdragon. That's what it is. New laptops use Snapdragon, which is not truly like an Intel or a Mac. It's its own brand of CPU. And we thought that xLights couldn't run on it, but it turns out that really just needed a couple of switches turned on in the compiler and the Windows installer that Scott has implemented, and people have been able to successfully run xLights on the Snapdragon hardware. So that's a new feature for those people looking at using that. Keith brought this in on what he said basically was for movies or videos, but it could be used anywhere. And this is going to be your mileage will vary as to, does this work for you or not? And I think it's more of a case of does it look right on the pixels? Maybe it doesn't look right in xLights, but it could look better in real person. Brightness level. As soon as you turn that on, what it's going to do is dim down all of the colors other than white, or including white, so that white doesn't overpower your display. So for your HD props, it will sort of try and level set or bring down the brightness so that the HD props aren't overwhelming you. It's probably something you would do on, like I say, HD props or bigger matrices. So try it on your props. Maybe this is a little deceiving. See how it looks on your actual props using this feature and see if it's something you want to do. It's just basically, It's basically dimming down the colors um, on the RGB scale. So that is it for dot 18. Again, we're probably just doing break fixes at this point. Not a lot of new features coming out. And remember, key thing is you will not get this by looking for check updates. You have to go to xlights.org to get it. Be sure and post any issues you're finding. 17, 18, 18 is fairly new, but 17 has been rock solid. So far, 18 has been rock solid as well. Not seeing any issues reported so far at this point. And yeah, nothing else to say. Hope your shows are going well. Be sure and go to xlightsaroundtheworld.com and get the latest community sequences for the xLights Around the World project. And yeah, see you in the Zoom room and have a great day.